Welcome to the law offices of Chris M. Ingram's Immigration Podcast. Today, we are excited to continue our four-part series on the L-1A and L-1B visas. We're having a great time presenting these U.S. visas with you. We hope you are enjoying them too.
The L-1A and L-1B visas offer excellent opportunities for business professionals to be transferred to the U.S. to either establish a new branch of a foreign company or transfer talent to an existing U.S. branch.
Moreover, we also cover how these visas provide a pathway to obtaining a green card. Okay, so let's dive into part 3.
Before we begin, we'd like to thank attorney Chris M. Ingram and his team for their diligent work in researching and preparing the material for this podcast.
Also, please give us a like or follow, and better still, subscribe to this channel, as all of these actions really help us a lot, so thank you.
Disclaimer. Please do not consider any content on our channels as providing you with legal advice.
If you would like a free consultation, please go to www.breakthroughusa.com.
Okay, so in our previous discussions, we've really got into the weeds on the L-1A visa, the one for multinational companies bringing over their executive and managerial talent. It's all about leadership, strategy, directing the ship, so to speak.
Exactly. That's the focus there.
But today, we're shifting gears a bit.
Yeah.
We're focusing on a complementary but pretty distinct classification, the L-1D visa. This one isn't really about the C-suite, folks. Its purpose is much more about leveraging, unique, really specialized expertise to push the U.S. operations forward.
Yeah.
Think of it like the visa for the company's secret sauce, maybe, that core technical knowledge or procedural know-how that gives them their edge.
That's a perfect way to frame it, actually. While L-1A handles the direction setters, the L-1B is specifically designed for, what our legal team often calls irreplaceable experts.
Irreplaceable experts. I like that. Yeah. And our team's research, drawing a lot from attorney Chris M. Ingram's experience with both big corporations and, agile startups transferring specialists, really shows why it's often seen as a kind of lifeline.
A lifeline. How so?
Well, it's for those situations where a company's ability to innovate or maintain quality or sometimes even just function day to day really hinges on very specific, unique knowledge that only one particular employee or maybe a small group possesses.
Okay, so it's not just about finding someone skilled.
Not at all. It's about bringing in someone whose knowledge is proprietary, really in-depth, crucial to the core operations, and importantly can't easily be, replicated or just found sitting in the U.S. labor market.
Right.
It becomes this sort of indispensable tool in the company's immigration toolkit, you could say. It complements the L-1A perfectly, allowing for a whole strategy, bring over the leader and the technical wizard who actually makes the vision happen.
And that's so important for you, the listener, right? Whether you're maybe an entrepreneur with a groundbreaking idea, or you're in HR trying to figure out talent acquisition, or maybe you're just curious about how this critical expertise moves around the world. Understanding the L-1B is, it's vital. It shows how businesses can really keep their competitive edge, how they can foster innovation by getting that very specific, often proprietary knowledge exactly where it needs to be, right when they need it.
Yeah, bridging those knowledge gaps that you just can't fill through, standard hiring.
Which brings us right to the absolute core, the foundation of the L-1B visa. It's this term, specialized knowledge. Sounds simple enough, maybe.
Deceptively simple.
Right. It's not just about being really good at your job. It has this specific legal definition, and nailing that definition is absolutely critical for getting the visa approved. So what exactly is specialized knowledge? How is it different from just, general expertise?
That really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it's where USCIS, that's U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, tends to apply the most scrutiny. Our legal team's research breaks it down pretty clearly. First, it can be special knowledge of your company's product, service, research, equipment, techniques, management, or other interests and their international applications.
Okay, so that's about what the company does and how it applies globally.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's one prong. Alternatively, the second prong is it could be advanced knowledge of processes and procedures.
Yeah.
This leans more towards how the unique internal ways the company operates, its systems, its methodologies.
Got it. Special knowledge of the what or advanced knowledge of the how?
Precisely. But the crucial takeaway, this is something our attorneys always stress, is that this is not everyday skills. It absolutely isn't. It has to be something distinctive that sets your company apart. Think about it this way. This isn't knowledge you pick up from a textbook or a standard industry certification or, even a general conference. It's usually proprietary, developed in-house, maybe over years, integral to the company's edge, and often tied so closely to how the foreign entity works that you just can't replicate it easily in the U.S. without that specific person.
So can you give us a concrete example? Make it a bit clearer.
Sure. Let's imagine a software engineer, but not just any engineer, one who's deeply, intimately familiar with the company's own custom encryption protocols. Maybe it's a unique mix of algorithms and security designs they developed over years, specifically for their global data network.
Right, not something off the shelf.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's unique to that firm, built internally, and you just won't find that specific skill set readily available in the U.S. job market. Or think about a pharmaceutical company. Maybe they have an engineer who's perfected a unique, possibly patented manufacturing method, one that dramatically cuts costs and boosts the purity of a specific drug they make.
Okay, that's very specific.
That kind of specialized knowledge makes transferring that person essential for a competitive advantage, because trying to replicate it or train someone new from scratch to that level, it would be incredibly slow, super expensive, maybe even impossible without having the expert there to transfer the knowledge directly. Lose that person, lose that knowledge, and the company's competitive position could seriously suffer.
That makes sense. It's knowledge tied directly to their specific success.
And there's another piece here, a critical prerequisite for the L-1B, which kind of reinforces this whole specialized knowledge idea. The employee must have 1 year of continuous foreign employment in the last 3 years with the company, or, a qualifying related company.
The 1 year rule. Why is that so important?
It's vital because it basically proves the employee is truly steeped in this knowledge. It creates that direct link between their experience abroad and the specialized skills they're bringing to the U.S. It shows USCIS this isn't just like a convenient hire, it's a legitimate transfer of someone who has genuinely developed and applied this company-specific expertise over a real period. It shows that deep embedded connection.
That distinction is incredibly important, isn't it? So it's knowledge that's not just advanced, but really intrinsically linked to the company's unique stuff, processes, products, services, almost like a trade secret walking around in a person.
That's a good way to think about it.
So as you're listening, maybe pause and think, are there people in your own organization, or perhaps even skills you yourself possess, that fit this description? Could you articulate exactly why that expertise isn't easily found elsewhere and why it's so vital to your company's unique edge?
Identifying that talent is really the first step. Okay, so given this pretty precise definition, where does the L-1B really shine? In practice, who is this visa particularly perfect for when it comes to growing a business or driving innovation?
Well, the L-1B is incredibly valuable for entrepreneurs looking to bring in key talent to kickstart U.S. ventures.
Startups. Makes sense.
Exactly. Think about a startup, especially in tech or maybe biotech. They often run on very specific innovative tech or processes developed by a small core team, right? So let's say you're a startup founder in software. Transferring a developer who has deep, intimate knowledge of your custom code base, maybe they even helped build it from scratch back in the home country, that transfer can fundamentally accelerate product launches without training delays.
Because you just don't have time for that. You don't have the time or the resources, especially early on. This visa lets you bring that person right in. Now, for new offices of existing foreign companies, the L-1B is also critical. There are some specific requirements, though.
Okay, what are those?
You need to show physical premises, a real U.S. office, not just a mailbox. And importantly, you have to demonstrate the financial ability to start the business and actually pay the L-1B employee. So you need proof of capital, a business plan, projections, that sort of thing.
Right, showing it's a real operation.
Exactly. And for these new office setups, the initial stay for the L-1B holder is typically up to 1 year. It's like an initial period to get things established, get operations running with that specialized knowledge right there from day one.
And then you can extend it.
Yes. If the new office shows it's making progress, growing, operating substantially, then those stays are extendable up to 5 years total.
5 years, that gives some real runway.
It does. And this structure is particularly useful in really emerging fields like AI, maybe quantum computing or renewable energy, fields where rapid prototyping is key. The IP is cutting edge, constantly evolving.
I can see that.
The visa structure gives that specialist enough time not just to deploy their knowledge, but also to adapt technologies to U.S. standards and regulations. Think about a specialist in European energy grid tech. They might need time to adapt their know-how to specific U.S. electrical codes or regional rules. The L-1B provides that crucial period for specialized talent to make a real, lasting impact by integrating their unique skills into the American market.
Feeling lost in a maze of visa types and paperwork? Don't know where to turn? We've got your back. With clear answers and real help, we'll guide you every step of the way. Let's navigate it together. Your journey starts today.
Hello, you must be Clara. Welcome to the law office of Chris M. Ingram.
Finally, I found a law firm that will help me achieve my American dream.
At this law firm, you are important to us. That's why we will be with you every step of the way. So join us at the office of Chris M. Ingram.
Our legal team sees this all the time. It lets companies bring complex global solutions to the U.S. without losing their edge.
That really paints a clear picture of how strategic the L-1B can be, especially for those dynamic new companies or folks in really fast-moving sectors. It lets you, the listener, sort of imagine how you could use this to launch something new, enter a market, or just streamline things with that absolutely critical talent. It's more than just paperwork. It's a real strategic advantage.
Okay, so we've got a good handle on who it's for, what specialized knowledge really means. Now, let's dig into the actual tangible benefits. What makes the L-1B such an attractive option for companies looking to expand and innovate? What makes it stand out?
Well, one of the absolute biggest advantages, and honestly a huge relief for many businesses, is that there are no caps on the L-1B visa.
No caps, unlike the H-1B lottery situation.
Exactly. No annual lottery, no severe numerical limits tied to the fiscal year. What this means is reliable access to that crucial talent. And that is absolutely vital for startups in competitive fields where speed is everything. You can't afford to wait for a lottery or the calendar to flip over when you need that irreplaceable skill now. That predictability is gold for business planning. Yeah, predictability is huge. What else?
Beyond just bringing someone in, the L-1B really helps with building U.S. teams because you have these specialists training local hires. It's not just a temporary fix. It actually fosters long-term sustainability. That valuable internal knowledge gets transferred, it spreads through the U.S. team.
Creating a legacy of knowledge, almost.
Precisely. It's invaluable for setting up a lasting base and developing your own skilled workforce here. And, like we touched on with the L-1A, the family perks are pretty much the same. Spouse work authorization has actually been enhanced in recent years.
Oh, that's right. So the spouse can work too.
Yes, the spouse of an L-1B holder can apply for work authorization, which makes the whole package much more attractive for employees with families. It helps the whole family integrate, provides stability, reduces friction for the person being transferred. It's a big deal. And another critical point, especially when dealing with sensitive tech or processes, is how this visa excels in protecting intellectual property during transfers. Think about it. Bringing the knowledge over embodied in the specialist is often way more secure than trying to document every single detail or rebuild complex systems from scratch in a new location.
Right. You keep control.
You keep control, and you enable the business to innovate without constantly reinventing the wheel. It protects that competitive edge. You know, attorney Chris M. Ingram often emphasizes this. He says, and I'm quoting directly here from our research, specialized knowledge under L-1B must be truly unique to the company, not just general expertise, to succeed in approvals. This visa excels in protecting intellectual property during transfers, enabling businesses to innovate without reinventing the wheel. Clients often find it bridges to more permanent roles, like promotions to managerial positions.
That quote really highlights the strategic value, doesn't it? It's not just filling a gap, it's protecting core assets and even planning for that expert's future growth within the company.
Exactly. It bridges temporary needs to potentially permanent contributions.
That insight from attorney Chris M. Ingram really brings it home. It's not just about filling a role short term, it's about creating sustained, strategic value, safeguarding innovations, and even planning long-term careers. That ability to transfer vital IP, often just in someone's head, is a game changer. Okay, but like any powerful tool, there have to be rules, right? Guidelines, maybe some restrictions. What are the key limitations or maybe nuances you really need to watch out for with the L-1B, especially around where and how the employee works once they're here? That off-site work thing sounds important.
You are absolutely right that primary restriction concerning off-site work is critical to understand for compliance. Basically, if the L-1B employee is going to work off-site, meaning at the location of an unaffiliated company, the petitioning firm, your company, must prove there is no labor for hire arrangement.
Labor for hire, meaning you're just staffing them out.
Precisely. USCIS scrutinizes this very closely. You have to demonstrate quite clearly that Your firm retains control over the employee's work, their duties, their output. The whole point of the L-1B is internal company transfers. The specialized knowledge is supposed to benefit the petitioning company directly, not primarily a third-party client.
So it's about preventing misuse, like using it as a backdoor staffing agency.
Exactly. They want to ensure the employee's work primarily serves your company's interests, not just, beefing up another company's team.
Okay. Can you give us some examples of how it can work properly, even if someone isn't always physically at the main office?
Sure. Think about that biotech entrepreneur we mentioned. Transferring a researcher with that advanced knowledge of drug formulations to speed up FDA approvals. Now, that researcher might need to use specialized equipment at an external lab sometimes, right?
Yeah, happens all the time in biotech.
Right. But the key is that the control of the research, the direction, the intellectual property being developed, it all stays firmly with the petitioning biotech company. The work serves their goals. Or take the fashion industry. A designer with specialized knowledge of a unique cutting or sewing technique comes over to launch U.S. lines for their company.
Okay.
They might work closely with a U.S. manufacturer or a specific textile supplier off-site, but the design vision, the application of that unique technique, the creative direction, it all stems from that specialized knowledge and is controlled by the fashion company. The knowledge is directly applied to their products under their oversight. That's the key difference.
Control and direct benefit to the petitioner.
That's the core principle. Oh, and it's worth just briefly mentioning blanket petitions.
Right, what are those?
For very large multinational companies that do a lot of L1 transfers and meet certain criteria, they can get a sort of pre-approval for L1 transfers. It's called a blanket L petition. This means their qualifying employees can often apply for the L1 visa directly at a U.S. consulate abroad without needing an individual petition approved by USCIS first for each person. It really streamlines things for companies with frequent high-volume transfers.
Ah, an efficiency measure for big players. Makes
Yeah.
sense. That clarification on off-site work and retaining control is super important for businesses to get right, making sure they don't accidentally step over the line. It really underscores that the L-1B is about bringing internal proprietary knowledge over, not just lending out experts. Understanding that nuance is crucial. All right, so we've covered the benefits, we've navigated the key restrictions, but, like any complex immigration path, there are probably common hurdles, right? What challenges do companies or individuals often face with the L-1B, and how do they usually overcome them? And then the big question for many, how does this visa connect to staying longer term, maybe getting a green card?
Well, the main challenge, and we've kind of circled around it, is rigorously proving the knowledge is specialized. Not just expert level, but truly demonstrably company-specific. This is where a lot of petitions hit snags.
Because it's hard to quantify sometimes.
Exactly. It's not enough to just say, this person is brilliant. You have to show how their brilliance is tied to your unique systems, your proprietary methods, your patented processes, things exclusive to your company. And that often requires really clear, detailed, persuasive documentation that sets their knowledge apart from just general industry expertise. You might need to show, what percentage of their time is spent on proprietary stuff versus off-the-shelf tools. What internal training did they get that no one else has?
So how does your legal team help clients tackle that?
What our legal team does is work very closely with the company and the employee to meticulously document that uniqueness. This often involves detailed affidavits from senior managers explaining the proprietary nature and essential role of the knowledge. We use organizational charts to show where this role fits globally. And sometimes comparisons are needed, maybe showing failed attempts to recruit for this specific skill set in the U.S., or detailing how long it would take to train someone locally, proving it's impractical. It's really about building a strong evidence-backed case.
Okay, building that compelling narrative. Now, what about the green card connection? That's huge for many people.
Absolutely. And a massive benefit of the L-1B is something called dual intent.
Dual intent.
Yes. It's a legal concept that explicitly allows L-1B holders to pursue green cards, meaning permanent residency, while they are still maintaining their temporary L-1B status. You don't have to pick one or the other.
Oh, wow. So you can work towards both at the same time.
Exactly. You can work here on the L-1B and simultaneously have the company sponsor you for a green card without messing up your current visa. That flexibility is invaluable for long-term planning, both for the individual's career and for the company wanting to retain that key talent.
So what are the typical green card routes for L-1B holders?
Our legal research shows the common pathways are often the employment-based second preference, or EB2. That's generally for professionals with advanced degrees or exceptional ability. Or it could be the employment-based third preference, EB3, which is typically for skilled workers. Which path fits best really depends on the person's qualifications, their education, and the specific nature of the job they hold in the U.S.
EB2 or EB3. Got it.
And another strategic point. For startups or even larger firms needing a whole team, the L-1B can be used right alongside the L-1A. You can bring over the managers, L-1A, and the critical specialists, L-1B, together, setting up a fully functional U.S. operation with all key players from day one. It's a really powerful combined strategy.
A comprehensive team transfer.
Exactly. And honestly, in today's world, with innovation cycles getting shorter and shorter, market leadership shifting so fast, the L-1B's ability to quickly and securely deploy that specialized knowledge, it can literally be the difference between leading the market and falling behind. It's more than just a visa. It's a strategic weapon in the global talent war.
What's really cool here is seeing how these aren't just, dry legal ideas. Our legal team's research gives us these really vivid, real-world pictures of how the L-1B actually transforms companies and changes people's lives. It brings the rules to life.
You finally got your family together on a H-1B. Your American dream begins. Your employer files for your EB2 green card, but the wait is over 11 years. As the years go by, frustration grows. And now the company is talking about layoffs. This could be the end of your American dream. You search for help, but luckily, you land on breakthroughusa.com. They listened, reassured you, and built your EB1 case with precision. Then one day, a notification buzzes. EB1 approved. With your EB1 green card, your entire family can breathe.
I have got my visa. I got my visa.
That's why the law offices of Chris M. Ingram is trusted. Your future shouldn't wait. Let's talk EB1.
What are the next steps?
Need help with your visa? Book your free consultation now at www.breakthroughusa.com and let us take care of you.
So let's explore two kind of creative scenarios. We'll draw from countries like Brazil and Mexico, which interestingly are significant sources of L-1B petitions, to really illustrate how this visa can unlock innovation, fuel growth, and eventually lead to that permanent U.S. residency. Okay, first up, let's head to Brazil. Picture this. Rafael Morales, his colleagues call him the AI Alchemist. He's this brilliant mind behind Neuronet, a really cutting-edge startup out of São Paulo's tech scene. And Neuronet's mission, it sounds almost like sci-fi, crafting AI that could turn cities sentient.
Wow. Sentient cities.
Yeah. I mean, think about AI predicting traffic jams perfectly, optimizing energy grids on the fly, maybe even helping prevent crime through pattern recognition. This isn't just generic AI. It's deeply embedded, transformative stuff for cities.
That's incredible. And Rafael the Alchemist, he wasn't just a good coder, right? His specialized knowledge was profoundly unique to Neuronet. We're talking proprietary neural architectures, algorithms he had personally honed over years of R&D.
That's standard stuff.
Definitely not. These algorithms were specifically designed to integrate complex, quantum-inspired learning with real-time data streams from all sorts of international sensors. The sheer complexity, the uniqueness of that approach, that was his specialized knowledge. And crucially, he'd already done his 1 year of specialized work abroad with Neuronet, really cementing that expertise, proving he was deeply ingrained in their unique methods.
So he ticked that box.
He ticked that box, and that track record made him the absolute key to unlocking U.S. markets. Our attorneys see this pattern often. A company has the tech, but needs that one critical person to deploy it. Cities like Chicago, for example, were apparently lining up, ready for smart city contracts with Neuronet, but they needed Rafael's specific touch to tailor it to their unique urban environment. The L-1B literally became his ticket to bring that innovation here.
So with cities like Chicago knocking on the door, Rafael makes the move. He transfers to Neuronet's brand new U.S. office, set up in Austin, Texas itself, a big tech hub. Sounds like a perfect setup for that initial 1 year new office stay we talked about.
It absolutely was. Rafael landed in Austin, armed with that deep, specialized knowledge of the company's processes. Specifically, those unique techniques that fused complex Brazilian urban data models with really strict global privacy protocols. Again, this wasn't generic data science you could just hire off the street.
Right, neuronet specific.
Totally. It was neuronet-specific, advanced expertise that no U.S. hire could master quickly, if they even could at all. Finding that exact combo, proprietary tech, real-world application, international privacy know-how in the U.S. market. Extremely difficult, maybe impossible, without years of internal training. And that's where the L-1B's no-cap feature was a huge win. It ensured his rapid entry on that one-year initial stay for new offices. He could immediately get to work, set up the critical servers, and start that vital knowledge transfer to the new U.S. team, hit the ground running. That immediate impact was key.
And what was the impact? What did he actually accomplish once he was here during that initial year and maybe beyond? Paint us that picture.
Well, he dove right in. Started customizing NeuroNet's core algorithms, specifically for American urban challenges. That meant things like integrating with various U.S. IoT standards, the Internet of Things, which is crucial for connecting all those smart city gadgets. He also spent a lot of time teaching the local hires the complexities of NeuroNet's unique error correction procedures, effectively transferring that invaluable knowledge.
Building the U.S. team's capacity.
Exactly. And the results were pretty dramatic. His extensions stretched out to the full 5 years allowed, and he hit some major milestones. By just the second year, a pilot program they launched up in Seattle had reduced traffic congestion by 25%.
25%, that's huge.
Huge. And as you can imagine, that created incredible buzz. Critically, it helped attract $20 million in additional funding for NeuroNet. And his family settled in well, too. His spouse, who was a UX designer, got her work-authorized status on her L2 visa. She actually ended up applying her skills to improve NeuroNet's public-facing apps, adding even more value. That family integration piece is often really important.
It sounds like everything was clicking. Did they hit any bumps?
Well, his expertise really proved its worth when challenges popped up. Like when data privacy laws evolved significantly in 2025, which happens all the time in tech, his specialized knowledge allowed NeuroNet to quickly pivot their models, ensuring they stayed fully compliant. That averted potential disasters. And importantly, he maintained that on-site collaboration, working closely with the U.S. team, which was vital for the hands-on nature of his work and helped avoid any perception of off-site issues that could complicate the L-1B.
Smart. And then the green card pursuit.
Right. As NeuroNet's success grew and his role became even more critical, it was natural for him to think about permanence, pursuing a green card. Given his background and contributions, the pathway that made the most sense was the employment-based second preference, EB2, the one for advanced degrees or exceptional ability.
Okay, so walk us through that EB2 green card process for Raphael. How did it actually play out? What were the steps?
Sure. So first, NeuroNet had to formally sponsor him, showing their commitment. The big initial step administratively was getting the Permanent Labor Certification, or PERM.
Ah, PERM. We hear about that a lot.
Yeah, it's a pretty rigorous process run by the Department of Labor. The company has to advertise the job extensively to test the U.S. labor market, proving there aren't any qualified, willing, and available U.S. workers who could do that specific job. It involves specific recruitment steps, strict ad placements. It typically takes 6-12 months just to get through the PERM stage successfully.
Okay, 6 to 12 months just for PERM.
Roughly, yeah. Once PERM was approved for Raphael, which was likely straightforward given how unique his skill set was, NeuroNet could then file the actual immigrant petition, the Form I-140. This petition really highlighted Raphael's advanced knowledge and his significant contributions to NeuroNet and the U.S. economy. It makes the case for his value.
Got it. Petition filed, then what?
After the I-140 was approved, Raphael could then file his application to adjust his status to permanent resident using Form I-485. And he did this concurrently with his family, so they all applied for green cards together.
Okay, but was it smooth sailing from there?
Well, here's a common hurdle, especially in EB2 for some countries, including Brazil at times. There can be backlogs due to high demand, meaning you have to wait for a visa number to become available even after your petition is approved. For Raphael, this stretched the final approval timeline to about 2 years after the I-140 approval.
2 years of waiting while still working.
Exactly. During that waiting period, he strategically maxed out his L-1B extensions to stay legally in the U.S. and keep doing his vital work. Finally, he had his biometrics appointment and his interviews at USCIS. In his case, the interview really focused on his exceptional skills and the significant job impact he'd already demonstrated. They wanted to confirm his ongoing value.
And the final result, success.
Yes. By year 5 of being in the U.S., Raphael received his green card. Permanent residency achieved. This was huge. It meant unrestricted work for him. He could even consult on the side about AI ethics, using his expertise more broadly. And it cemented Neuronet's future here. They expanded massively, opened offices in 5 more cities, and created around 200 jobs for U.S. workers.
Wow, 200 jobs. That's significant impact.
Absolutely. And his family fully integrated, kids in STEM programs, the whole thing. Raphael's journey is just a fantastic example of the L-1B's power, starting with that crucial knowledge infusion, leading to an enduring presence, and literally fostering these urban miracles. The green card solidified everything.
That's an incredible story. What's attorney Chris M. Ingram's perspective on cases like Raphael's, especially navigating that EB2 path from an L-1B?
Attorney Chris M. Ingram offers a really practical insight based on his experience. He notes, L-1B holders pursuing green cards via EB2 often face peer challenges, but exceptional ability can streamline the process. The key is documenting how their knowledge creates unique, demonstrable value for the U.S. economy, going beyond general expertise. This pathway has helped many of my clients turn temporary expertise into permanent contributions, providing stability for the individual and lasting benefits for their U.S. companies. It really hammers home the need for that strong documentation we talked about, proving that unique value.
Raphael's journey really does capture it all, doesn't it? From that initial spark in Brazil to full-scale impact across U.S. cities, it shows how L-1B can take that specialized knowledge infusion and turn it into an enduring U.S. presence, literally creating urban miracles. A fantastic example of anchoring innovation here. Okay, let's shift now to our second scenario. Equally fascinating, this time originating from Mexico. Meet Dr. Lila Chen. Her colleagues apparently call her the Bioengineer Sorceress of Aquabloom.
Bioengineer Sorceress. Love it.
Right. Aquabloom, based near Mexico City, had this incredibly innovative mission, harvesting ocean microalgae for sustainable biofuels and also nutrient-packed superfoods. This isn't just basic farming, it's really pioneering biotech with huge potential for energy and nutrition globally.
And Lila's specialized knowledge was, well, legendary seems about right. She had this advanced mastery of Aquabloom's proprietary cultivation processes. This included special techniques using gene-edited strains that she likely helped develop, strains designed to thrive in tough saltwater conditions. As a result, they yielded 300% more output than competitors using standard methods.
300%.
Yeah. So again, not just general bioengineering. This was highly specific, proprietary skill involving genetic modification, specialized cultivation tech unique to Aquabloom. And, like Raphael, her 1 year of foreign expertise developing and refining these exact techniques made her absolutely pivotal for U.S. expansion. California, with its coastline and green energy focus, was beckoning. Partnerships with energy giants, food distributors were basically waiting for her specific skills. The L-1B was her wand, so to speak, to bring Aquabloom's potential to life in the U.S.
There are just too many visas out there, and I don't know which one is right for us. We need to get the right advice.
Communication is everything, and I just need someone who will listen and guide me to the right visa type, and not make promises that they can't deliver.
There are so many documents. I need someone to walk me through each one. I can't afford to make any mistakes.
If I can just find a lawyer who understands my potential, I know America will be an excellent opportunity for me and my family.
Welcome to the law offices of Chris M. Ingram, and we are your immigration lawyers, and we will be with you every step of the way in your immigration journey.
At the law office of Chris M. Ingram, you get a free consultation so we can understand your needs.
We don't make promises we can't keep. Our success rate speaks for itself.
Join us and access your step-by-step video guides that answer every visa question.
Their platform is amazing. There are videos that instruct you on everything you have to do. It meant we were in control and we could do it in our own time.
They couldn't have been more helpful. They answered every question that I had, and it was easy to see they were the lawyers for me.
I couldn't believe it with my busy schedule. They always had time to talk to me and put me at ease. That's what I like about them.
So go on our website and get your free consultation now, and your new life is about to begin.
Ask me.
We did it! We did it! We did it!
Oh my God, I got my visa! Yes, I did it!
So with those big U.S. opportunities calling, Lila heads to Aquabloom's new U.S. branch in San Diego, another perfect coastal spot with a strong biotech scene. What was her immediate impact there? How did that specialized knowledge translate on the ground?
She arrived ready to go, bringing her special knowledge of Aquabloom's specific equipment and its international applications. For example, knowing precisely how to adapt those unique gene-edited algae strains so the biofuels they produced would be compliant with strict U.S. EPA standards, Environmental Protection Agency rules.
Right, adapting to local regulations.
Crucial. And again, this expertise was totally company unique, not off-the-shelf biology. It was part of Aquabloom's DNA. The L-1B gave her that vital one-year initial stay, since it was a new office, allowing her to make an immediate impact, setting up and fine-tuning the U.S. cultivation systems. She was that critical bridge, ensuring their core tech transferred smoothly and compliantly.
And how did her role change after that initial setup? What were the big wins during her time there? And crucially, how did her visa situation evolve as her responsibilities grew?
Lila didn't waste any time in those San Diego labs. She immediately got to work optimizing processes, refining her unique methods, and then diligently training the new U.S. biologists on advanced harvesting techniques that dramatically minimized waste and boosted yields. Her presence was a catalyst for innovation. It directly led to developing a new strain specifically for omega-3 supplements, which incredibly hit the shelves in just year one.
Year one? That's incredibly fast commercialization.
Amazingly fast. Her L-1B extensions stretched to the full 5 years, and during that time they hit major milestones. University collaborations resulted in key patents, locking down Aquabloom's IP. They secured $12 million in research grants.
Wow.
And her family flourished too. Her partner, also a marine scientist, got his work authorized status via L2 and actively co-authored research papers with her on sustainable aquaculture. Her sorcery really came through during unexpected challenges too. When those 2025 climate shifts brought warmer ocean waters, Lila's deep knowledge allowed Aquabloom to quickly adapt their strains to warmer waters, preventing failures that could have wiped out their crops.
That's resilience based on specialized knowledge.
Absolutely. And of course, her constant on-site focus kept control internal for Aquabloom, perfectly aligning with the L-1B's intent. But then, as Aquabloom just exploded with growth, Lila's role naturally changed significantly. She was promoted to manage the entire expanding R&D team.
Promotion to management.
Exactly. Supervising a growing team of scientists, directing critical R&D functions. This wasn't just a title change. It was a fundamental shift from being a specialized individual contributor to a true manager with strategic oversight and direct reports. And that significant shift qualified her perfectly for the L-1A visa, the one for multinational managers.
That's a really pivotal moment. So how did Aquabloom handle that switch? Moving her from L-1B specialist to L-1A manager, what was the advantage?
It's a very smart strategic move that our attorneys often advise clients on when the situation fits. Before Lila hit her L-1B's 4.5-year mark, timing can be key here. Aquabloom filed an amended petition requesting a change of her status to L-1A. To justify this, they had to meticulously document her new managerial role, providing detailed org charts, new job descriptions showing supervisory duties, evidence of her managing professionals, and key functions.
Proving the role genuinely changed.
Precisely. It has to be a real demonstrable shift. Getting that L-1A approval was huge. It extended her potential stay in the U.S. up to a total of 7 years, and more importantly, it directly bridged her to a fantastic green card pathway, the EB-1C for multinational managers. This path is often much faster and more streamlined than the EB-2 or EB-3 routes.
So the EB-1C path was noticeably better, more streamlined for her.
Oh, absolutely. The EB-1C is often seen as the premier category for multinational managers. Aquabloom petitioned for her under EB-1C, emphasizing her promotion and her significant international history within the company's structure. And here's the massive advantage. EB-1C skips labor certification.
Skips per M entirely.
Skips per M entirely. That alone saved them probably 6 to 18 months of time, hassle, and cost associated with the labor market test. It's a huge benefit. After her EB-1C immigrant petition was approved, Lila filed for adjustment of status, including her family, just like Rafael did. But because EB-1C often has shorter waiting times and no per M delay, the final processing was remarkably quick, taking only about 8-12 months. It finished with successful interviews highlighting her leadership in sustainable tech.
And the final triumphant outcome for Lila.
By year 6 of her U.S. journey, Lila secured her green card. Permanent residency achieved, enabling her unrestricted growth potential here. Aquabloom itself became a major success story, launching large commercial farms, ultimately employing 300 people, largely thanks to Leela's innovation and leadership. Her partner even started a marine conservation nonprofit. The whole family fully integrated. Leela's story isn't just a transfer, it's truly a revolution driving jobs, growth, and infusing the U.S. with vital green technology.
And what's attorney Chris M. Ingram's insight on this L-1B to L-1A promotion strategy for green cards?
Attorney Chris M. Ingram really underscores the strategic value here. He devises, promoting an L-1B holder to L-1A can unlock faster green card paths like EB-1C, avoiding PREM altogether. This strategy works when the role genuinely shifts to managerial or executive capacity, backed by strong, undeniable evidence of supervisory duties and functional management. It's a game-changer for specialists aiming for long-term U.S. residency, allowing a direct and expedited route to permanence. It shows how smart career planning within a company can align perfectly with immigration strategy for the best possible long-term result.
Leela's story really does capture that full arc, doesn't it? From harvesting secrets in the lab, evolving seamlessly to L-1A leadership, and securing that green card for an anchored future. Her journey, ending with Aquabloom, fueling fleets and feeding people, is just a powerful testament to the L-1B's core idea, specialized magic, unbound, leading to permanent contributions. All right, so in part 3 today, we've really taken a deep dive into the L-1B visa. We unpacked its core eligibility, especially that tricky but crucial definition of specialized knowledge. We looked at how vital it is for entrepreneurs and new ventures starting out here. We explored the strategic benefits like no caps, which is huge, and fostering that internal knowledge transfer. We also tackled the key restrictions, like those important rules around off-site work.
Right, keeping control.
Exactly. And then we saw through those two really compelling stories, Raphael, the AI alchemist, and Leela, the bioengineer sorceress, how the L-1B opens up pathways to permanent residency, transforming both companies and lives. And again, a big thank you to attorney Chris M. Ingram's team for pulling together the detailed research that made this discussion possible.
Yeah, and it's just so clear how this visa really supports that critical transfer of knowledge from global operations right into the U.S. And maybe even more importantly, how it can strategically lead to promotions, to permanence for these incredibly valuable specialists. It's not just good for the individual, it's vital for innovation and economic growth here.
Absolutely. Those stories really show how temporary specialized roles can evolve into truly long-term embedded contributions benefiting everyone.
Exactly. The individuals, their families, entire industries, the whole U.S. economy.
So thinking bigger picture now, connecting all these dots, what does this ability, this mechanism to strategically transfer such unique, specialized knowledge really mean for the future? For U.S. industry, for creating new jobs, for staying globally competitive, it feels like a powerful way for the U.S. to keep drawing in unique talent from around the world.
It absolutely is. It helps maintain that edge.
Yeah. Well, in our final part 4 of this series, we're going to wrap things up. We'll discuss the broader impact of both L1 visas A and B as these vital, indispensable tools for bringing top talent here, fostering company growth, driving job creation, and really reinforcing why the U.S. continues to be such a fertile ground for innovation and for that entrepreneurial spirit. Thank you so much for being with us today. We hope you gained a lot from this discussion. Please subscribe to or follow this channel as it can significantly increase the reach of this podcast and help us help more people. We'd greatly appreciate your support. Leave us a comment if you can.
Also, follow us on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, X, and Instagram, where we're growing rapidly thanks to our social media team.
We would also like to thank attorney Chris Ingram and his dedicated team once again for preparing this material for our presentation.
If you, a friend, or a family member would like a free consultation, you can visit our website at www.breakthroughusa.com and schedule an appointment. We'd love to hear from you and help you if we can.
Bye for now.